out of here, please!
2 steps forward, and I get knocked 10. I'm not screaming. I'm not fighting nobody.
Fatima, you all right?
Tyler, Perry ZATIMA, Henry, and Mona return, but Leslie is still coming. Henry's punishment means much more. Henry telling Zach to put together all the baby items wasn't really about furniture. It was about responsibility. The entire scene symbolized Henry saying, "You wanted to become the man protecting my daughter and my grandchild. Now prove it." Zach doesn't argue, doesn't complain, and immediately accepts the punishment with a respectful "yes, sir." That small exchange actually says much more than it appears on the surface. Could Henry already be testing whether Zach is truly ready for fatherhood? What's interesting is how this scene connects directly back to the hospital storyline earlier this season. When Fatima was lying in that hospital bed and Leslie's secret finally exploded into the open, Zach wasn't worried about himself. Fatima's biggest mistake. One thing this episode quietly reminds viewers is that Zach actually wanted Fatima's parents involved much earlier. He even considered sending her to stay with them, but Fatima refused because she didn't want to drag her parents into the Leslie situation. At the time, that decision probably made emotional sense to her because she wanted to shield her family from unnecessary stress. Unfortunately, hiding the truth didn't make the danger disappear, it allowed it to grow. And now the consequences may arrive at the worst possible moment. Fatima spent months keeping Zach completely in the dark about Leslie, and by the time the truth finally came out, everything had escalated beyond something manageable. That's why Henry and Mona's disappointment feels understandable. Mona needed one missing line. Now honestly, one thing that would have made this episode even stronger is if Mona had given fans one unforgettable line about Leslie. Imagine Mona looking at Fatima and saying something like, "I knew there was something off about that girl the first time I met her." That single sentence would have instantly created history between Mona and Leslie, while making longtime viewers feel like Fatima's mother had seen through Leslie all along. It would have added another layer to their family dynamic. But maybe the writers intentionally saved that reaction for later. There's actually a fascinating idea that parents often recognize fake friends much faster than their children do, while children sometimes recognize fake family much quicker than their parents. That thought fits this storyline surprisingly well. Zach versus the impossible situation. Henry also reminds Zach that he gave him his blessing to take care of both his daughter and his grandchild. That's an incredibly important statement because it shows Henry isn't treating Zach like an outsider anymore. He's holding him accountable as family. Zach accepting that responsibility without hesitation proves just how seriously he's taking this role now compared to the reckless man viewers met years ago. But becoming responsible doesn't magically remove danger from the picture. The real problem is that Leslie isn't expected to stay behind bars forever. The episode continues building the feeling that her current situation is temporary rather than permanent. Between the storyline involving the officer and everything surrounding her arrest, the narrative keeps suggesting that Leslie could return much sooner than anyone wants. That's all for today. We will see you next time.